Hey, true believers, Englentine here with a review of Young Monsters in Love. Kind of reminds me of Young Doctors in Love from the 1980s that nobody but me probably remembers. So anywho, this is an anthology book, and anthology books are always a mixed bag. But I'm excited for this one, so let's check it out. It's got quite a few stories, as you could tell here by the credit sheet. And I leave these in so you can pause and see who writes it and draws it, because I forget a lot. So anyway, we do start off with a ManBat story written by Kyle Higgins and drawn by the awesome Kelly Jones. Now, he is the perfect person to be drawing anything that stars ManBat. That is hands down a fact. I don't think that's an opinion, in all honesty. You want the perfect ManBat, you get Kelly Jones. This is a psychological tale where we are following Dr. Langstrom. I can't believe I almost forgot about that. As he is basically trying to reunite with his ex-wife. And unfortunately, of course, the ManBat looms over him, and the conversation doesn't go as well as he plans. I was actually thrown by this because immediately I was expecting a horror story. I almost forgot the title of the book. It's Young Monsters in Love, and I'm thinking, okay, where's the surprise? Where's the shock? Where's the horror element that's going to come later? And in all honesty, it never did. This isn't that kind of a book. It's not about the horror elements of the monsters. It's Young Monsters in Love. And what I got was something that was unexpected and actually pretty darn good. I enjoyed it. The ending is a little bit cheesy, but still it works for what it was. And I love this story being the first one, because if you are like me, where you're watching the monsters, you're expecting the horror element, it shocks you and just jostles you right back into the theme and the tone of the book in total. 4 stars for the first story, Nocturnal Animal. All right, here we have Frankenstein, the Agents of Shade. You know, this is the second time I've done this. The first time I called it Frankenstein and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like 4 times. That's how Pavlovian it is now. Agents of, you have to end it with S.H.I.E.L.D. Anyway, Frankenstein, Agent of Shade in Pieces of Me. Written by Tim Seeley, drawn by Giuseppe Camuncoli. I think I pronounced that right. I apologize if I didn't. So, this story's MacGuffin. I'm going to call it just that. You have Frankenstein's monster and the Bride of Frankenstein come on in, and they're told by Father Time that they have to go stop a whole bunch of robots that have been possessed by demons, or they say Satan. Anyway, I thought, okay, that's interesting. Robots with souls that could get possessed by Satan or demons. It doesn't make sense, but that's fine. Let's roll with it, because basically the plot does not matter. It is a MacGuffin. That is just a reason for the pictures to be moving around, so we don't just have pictures of Frankenstein's monster and the Bride of Frankenstein standing there as the dialogue goes. What sells this is the story. It is told in the fashion of the day. It is told in the same structure as the book Frankenstein, with letters. In this case, it's one letter from Frankenstein's monster to the bride as he tells her how much he loves her. All throughout the adventure, all throughout the mission, this letter goes on. There's hardly any dialogue in the book. As soon as they're on the mission, it is all letter, and it is sad, it's desperate, it is all about unrequited love, and that is the same thing as the movie The Bride of Frankenstein. So to me, this plays off the source material perfectly. 5 stars for Frankenstein, the Agents of Shade, Pieces of Me. So the third story is Buried on Sunday by Margit Scott and Brian Hitch. I may have said that first name wrong, and I apologize if I did. Now, this is starring Superman and Solomon Grundy. The art's pretty good, except for this one panel where Superboy's doing the Home Alone thing. It just did not look right. It really didn't. Sorry, Hitch. Usually it is top-notch, but not in this particular case. So the whole story here is that Superman wants to let Solomon Grundy go visit his loved ones' graves. Of course, his loved ones are long dead, centuries dead. And that's where this one comes in. It's the love of people who have been lost to us. Now, there is a fight scene that just does not belong in it, in all honesty, and it feels like filler. And that is actually, that's a testimony to the story as a whole. This story just feels like filler, especially when compared to the two that came before it. This is a middle of the book kind of thing, because if it began, you wouldn't want to continue, and if it ended, it would end flat. Overall, yeah, there's better. There's better here. It's not horrible, just not as good. 3 stars for Buried on Sunday with Superman and Solomon Grundy. Next up, we have The Dead Can Dance, starring Raven. And this is written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, and it's drawn by Javier Fernandez. And Javier Fernandez is the winner here because this is not a good story. I'm kind of disappointed because this book started off so strong, and then the 3rd book was okay, and then this is the first one I would say it's bad. And it's not Raven, it's Cell Phone Raven. I guess another name for it could be Redhead Raven, because I think that, now I'm not saying coloring her hair red makes the story bad, of course. No actually people out there. I'm just saying that stories with Redhead Raven seem to not be good. This one is shallow. It's hollow. She gets called to a house to exorcise a ghost, finds out who it is, what they want. They died in prom. They dance. The ghost goes away. At no point is this, oh, we're looking to find out why you are sad. That's why. Nothing like this. There's no build up to anything. It's just the writer wants to wax philosophical, and they're using Raven as a vessel to get their message through her. It is, like I said, it's vapid. It's just not an interesting story, and in the end, it just seems like wanting to show these images are supposed to make you feel something rather than marrying the words and the images together like the first 2 stories in this book does. In the end, I can't recommend this particular story. I understand if you already bought the book, it's there, you might as well read it, but I don't think you're going to get much out of it. 2 stars for the Raven-starred ghost story. The 5th story is called, what is it called? It's called Be My Valentine, and it stars Dead Man, drawn by Gilliam March and written by Paul Dini of Batman the Animated Series fame. Actually, the entire 90s DC cartoon saga, it appears like. Anyway, and I know I'm going to be actually for that particular thing. So this is a story all about how this life got switched and turned upside down. This young kid's being bullied, and Dead Man comes across him as he's running wildly away and is almost hit by a train. Dead Man decides to possess him and then goes about beating up the bullies. It's about rejection. That is how this ties into the Monsters in Love. Dead Man is, of course, a dead man, a ghost, and he's possessing a live kid and taking care of his bullies and talking about how bullying and rejection can actually hurt and lead to some serious consequences. I'm not exactly sure how this fits in with the theme of Monsters in Love, but it is here. It's a decent story without really being all that good. It's something you're going to read, be entertained, and then forget about very quickly. The 6th story in the book stars the Swamp Thing. It's called HeartShaped Box, written by Mark Russell, drawn by Fraser Irving. It is the story of new love. We have Swamp Thing meeting somebody, and it's their stories. They get to know each other, and he's feeling weird because this is the first time he's ever had feelings for somebody since they took Abby away from him. Now I have to read some 52 books to find out when this happened. So, yeah, it's a decent story. Not much to say other than that. Obviously, we have to have an action scene, so they send in people who really have unclear motives. The meat and potatoes is the relationship between Swamp Thing and his newfound partner. Now, they do throw a little twist at the end and a little bit of pathos because I guess they can't have a happy Swamp Thing, even though he was married for a long time, so we've seen him in a relationship. But if they had done that, then continuity would declare that they would have to go forward with this new relationship and see where it goes. And we know by what we've seen these days that comic books tend not to want people married, except for Superman and Lois Lane, which I kind of dig. Anyway, decent story, 4 stars. Gotta give it to HeartShaped Box. Monsieur Mala and the Brain star in the next story, the 7th story of the book, called Visibility, written by Steve Orlando, drawn by Nick Klein, and every bit as good as you want a story to be. I forgot about these two for a while. I mean, it's understandable. They're not used very often. They come from the pages of Doom Patrol, and they are one of the first openly gay couples in comic book history. And it's a gay couple who is a gorilla and a brain stuck in a machine. A brain that has almost forgotten how to be human. But its humanity lies with its love of Monsieur Mala. And in here, they found that there's some sort of technology that would give the brain eyes again so they can actually see each other. And they're trying to steal the technology so that could be done. It's really a beautiful story, and I'm very impressed with it. And I love the fact that they've given these two humanity. In the end, man, Monsieur Mala, I said that wrong, and the Brain, 5 stars, guys. Great story. The 8th story is called The Turning of Deborah Dancer, stars I, Vampire, written by Alyssa Quinty and drawn by Stephanie Hans. So, yeah, I guess what would be the love here would probably be the love between an old-fashioned guy and a modern woman, like how men used to be versus what women want them to be now. Frankly, this entire thing is bipolar, which, okay, that might actually explain being in love with a modern woman very accurately. Thudum-bum-bum! Man, there's going to be some people who didn't realize that was a joke. It isn't. So what this is fucked up. They're on a mission to find somebody, and something happens, and it seems like she almost runs off the road. Then they seem to forget what they were doing. They have a fight between, I guess, the people they were looking for. The art style changes during the fight. She is constantly saying, I love you, you know, I really do. And, oh, get away from me, I'm a modern woman. This story's a mess. 2 stars, guys. Failure for I, Vampire. The 9th story stars the demon, and it's called To Hell and Gone, written by Phil Heider and drawn by Mirko Kolick. Sorry, I just butchered the hell out of their names. I apologize. I apologize for a lot of things about this particular story, because when I was reading it, I was trying to feel, okay, so how are they approaching the love angle using the monster hero, the demon? Because we see him storming the castle, and we're getting the story from the perspective of the people he's attacking even, but it's not really telling us what this is about. There's an old love there, and then I realized, oh, it's about letting go. That's what this entire story is about. It's about the demon who fell in love with somebody at one point in time. She has died, and he is trying to save her soul and let her move forward. And at first, I didn't like it because, it's kind of disjointed, and it isn't the greatest story in the book. It's a 3-star story, I'm going to tell you right here, but it does get better as it goes on. And by the end of the 8 pages, if you don't love it, I think at least it'll be kind of, it's decent at the very least. So there you go, Hell and Gone. I am happy to say that the book ends on a high note, called Dear Velcoro, starring the Creature Commandos. That's basically all of them. You got the vampire, the werewolf, Frankenstein's monster, and the Medusa. But this focuses mainly on the vampire and werewolf. Vampire and werewolf meet one night in a forest. So says a non-famous joke. Actually, I don't even know if there's a joke to it. But anyway, this is about the love of friendship, as the two of them start talking about their life before they became the monsters, and they realize that, yeah, they're never going to be the same. The ladies at home left them already because they're in a war, World War II here, and that their real kinship now is with the people and the monsters who are in the Creature Commandos. It's a really well-told story. And it's not bombastic. It's just simple, it's plain, and it's very relatable to basically anybody who's ever been in a relationship that has gone south. In the end, I'm glad they left it on a story like this. It's not over the top. It's just purely entertaining. So if you follow by the numbers, Nocturnal Animals starring the ManBat, 4 stars. Pieces in Time starring the Agents of Shade, Frankenstein's monster mainly, 5 stars. Buried on Sunday with Solomon Grundy, 3 stars. The Dead Can Dance with a Raven, 2 stars. Be My Valentine. Holy crap, that was the Dead Man story. 3 stars. HeartShaped Box of Swamp Thing, 4 stars. Visibility with Mansar Mala and the Brain, 5 stars. The Turning of Deborah Dancer, an I Vampire story, got 2 stars. To Hell and Gone, starring the Demon, 3 stars. And Dear Velcro with the Creature Commandos got 4 stars. And that puts the average just above, well, average. So technically, I could tell you I enjoyed it, but I could not recommend it. But I'm going to say that this is such an odd little duck of a book that if you are into this kind of thing, if you like the monsters, then by all means pick it up. Maybe there's something here that I didn't like that you liked. Of course, it could work the other way around as well. So, yeah, I will cautiously recommend this. Understand it is an anthology book, therefore it will be uneven. So, that is my opinion. What is yours? Have you read this? If so, did you like it? Did you hate it? Or were you like me, where, some are good, some are bad. It's an anthology book. What do you expect? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, you want to see more, please click like, share to get the word out about the channel. Definitely could use that. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Make sure you're not missing anything. Cool things happen around these parts, ladies and gentlemen. Also, if you don't mind, this is the way I make a living. This is my only job, so if you don't mind heading on over to Patreon, give a little support, drop $1 in the till. Helps keep the lights on, helps keep making videos like this. The link's in the description below. Thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.